Hello, dear friends. In today's video we will look at 5 popular retro cars in the world, which can be added to the collector who loves cars. Beautiful craftsmanship, an undeniable charm, and a sense of freedom with a hint of nostalgia, the best old school cars have ubiquitous magic that's hard to put into words. As any fan of vintage cars will tell you, there's nothing quite like the purr of the engine or the smell of the leather when you're lucky enough to get up close and personal with one of your favorite antique cars. And that feeling when you spot a perfectly restored, rarely seen model? Unbeatable. A history lesson in a vehicle, these cool vintage cars tell a story before you've even sat down on the faded leather or ran your finger approvingly across their pristine paint. While part of the fun comes from driving, the rest of it comes from simple admiration. It doesn't matter whether you're an average car collector or even if it's one of the expensive cars, you can still appreciate these types of older cars and old-fashioned mechanics. Read on for our roundup of the best classic cars, including the most beautiful vintage car, the most affordable classic car, and the most reliable classic car. Because, of course, that incredible antique car might not seem quite so incredible if it breaks down in the middle of the road. Aston Martin DB5 1964. The Aston Martin DB5 was designed to be a talking point, and that's something that's never really changed. Not only is this one of the most impressive classic cars, it's also one of the rarest and the most iconic. Name dropped in the James Bond franchise as well as elsewhere in popular culture, its sky-high price has grown an estimated 790 times since it first arrived on the market. Conceptualized by the Italian designer Carrozzeria Touring Superleggera in Milan, this cool old car was always designed to make an entrance. The more time passes, the bigger the entrance promises to be. Ferrari 250 GTO 1962. The sleek, stylish Ferrari 250 GTO is one of the most famous classic cars of all time, and for a very good reason. This one-of-a-kind model sits worlds apart from the rest, both in its modernized design and expensive price tag, just like the world's most expensive cars. When it first appeared, this car didn't even have a name. Before it was christened officially, it was known internally as Il Mostro, the Monster, because of its strange design. From its launch in the 1960s through to modern times, it's a car that's pushed forward full throttle, with a current value that even most millionaires wouldn't be able to justify. Discover the history behind Ferrari to learn more about the brand and the incredible cars that followed in the 250 GTO footsteps. Jaguar E-Type 1961. No self-respecting list of classic cars could start without mentioning the Jaguar E-Type. This iconic car has a history of its own that would still break some records nowadays, with impressive top speeds of 150 miles per hour and a sleek design to match. Enzo Ferrari described the Jaguar as the most beautiful car in the world, and we'd be hard-pressed to disagree. Many of Jaguar's future designs were inspired by the E-Type, from the body shape to the internal mechanisms and everything in between. It's a classic car with a legacy that's lived on arguably further than any other Jaguar in existence. Porsche 911, 1963. The Porsche 911 is described as a nearly perfect classic sports car, because there's always room for a little bit of improvement. A longtime staple of the classic car community, this universally loved vehicle takes plenty of prizes when it comes to impressive statistics. The design of this luxury supercar actually stemmed from the Volkswagen Beetle, as both were designed by the same person, Ferdinand Porsche. And, even nowadays, the 911 continues to take the record of being the most popular classic sports car in the world. All of those cars have all been produced in the same factory, in Stuttgart, Germany. Chevrolet El Camino SS 1970. Think of old-time American movies and you'll probably find a vague image of a 1970 Chevrolet El Camino SS springs to mind. This American classic was a national and international icon even before the years passed, and it turned into a classic car rather than an everyday vehicle. Released as the high-performance version of the standard El Camino, this American coupe was famed for its surprisingly powerful engines and unique design. After the success of the first release, the Chevrolet El Camino SS was re-released in various new generations, all with slightly more power but the same bespoke body.